Hello all you crazy people out there, my name is Michael, I like wizards and dragons and making games, and this week we are continuing where I cut the video off last week because it was way too long. Last week I had rewritten a lot of enemy path code for the Seer Tower Defense game, and also fixed a bunch of bugs, and this week we are going to be implementing the path in the path editor, and making it work in the game. I think that's exciting, don't you think that's exciting? Okay. So there's one more thing. I can put that back to the way you were. I'm going to be drawing you with the unlit shader because, to be honest, something that's only going to appear in the editor anyway, having a shader is probably kind of distracting, and I would like it to not be there. I would just like to see colored circles like that. Okay, excellent. And then I'll make the and make them red on select and green on hover. Because they're already white, and flashing them to white wouldn't make sense. Now, getting back to actually editing those, I lost it, where is it? I can probably close save map and load map also. Dog barking, distract, please stop. I'm gonna uncomment this, and the nodes here, they do not have any select or deselect method, so I can just assign the variable, and then when you change mode, you can just set that back to undefined. And I think that should be all I need for selecting them. Okay, tab F2 and select you. Okay, so that is flashing you blue, not red, because I put it in the wrong order, because red, green, blue, blue, green, red, whatever, same thing. That's fine. It doesn't need to be any specific color. It just needs to be something that is a color that I can see. And these are ordered. So if I were to continually plop these things down, there would be a ring of things, of nodes. If I were to leave edit mode and run the game now, the game is still going to crash because unknown object.y not set before reading it. Entities line 337. Okay, first let me push that commit. Or commit that commit or whatever. On Windows, you can sometimes get away with having your vertex attributes in the wrong order. On other platforms such as mobile or HTML5, you often cannot, so it's a good idea to not do that, even if your game works fine. We're going to select path nodes. And we are going to... What did I say I was going to do? Oh, there's the error, the crash that I should address. Entities line 337. This is... Okay, what is destination being initialized to? Since arguments and functions are evaluated back to front, I think it's destination having issues. I think there are like destination is being undefined or something like that. So if I were to send this in, oh no, that is very much not undefined. That is a node. Okay. So we are, these are path nodes instead of just vector 3s. And I would like this to be a vector 3. So I need to make that a dot position. Okay. I like it when bugs take that little amount of time to figure out. Tab F2, plop, 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 go back to gameplay mode, and we can send things out. You are being spawned at 0, which you probably should not be. I do see... Okay, so the path is effectively... They are following the path. If I were to hit tab, you can see where the path nodes are. And you can say they are following it, which is good. Yes, it just works. To quote the ever memeable Todd Howard. I'm so excited about this that I just cracked my knuckles, and I don't know if you could hear that. However, the actual position Where is position? Where is it initialized to? I would like self.position to equal this, and then there have to be at least 2 nodes in the path, and then the destination position is the next one, and then you go from there. That should be no more gameplay crashing than what I had before, as long as the level designer creates a path with more than 2 nodes in it. That's not quite as precise as it would be in regular gameplay, but what on earth are you doing, sir? You are zigging and zagging and going all over the place. That is unexpected. Hello? I think I actually want to initialize path node to 1 because that's the one that it's seeking, but I am not 100% sure why it was doing that in the first place. No, don't save the map, at least not yet. So let's not do anything too insane, at least not yet. That is most peculiar. Oh, I think I know why. Okay, so cloning the references to these things is indeed a bad idea, in a to use a technical word. Because when position gets set, hang on, instead of saying new vector3 passing the original as a parameter, let's say let's make a clone method instead. That'll be slightly neater. In addition, all of the it seems like all of the foes in the wave are kind of following the same path, and I don't know if the weirdness that is going on is like them trying to all move towards the same node as each other for whatever reason. This is definitely one of the stranger looking bugs in this game, not counting the programmer art for the woodlouse. Most mysterious. And then that just exploded. We can always do this the hard way, of course. I like to live on the edge.
Hey.
Alright. JSON parse error. What are you... Oh, it's not taking in... Doesn't take, to make a very long story short, that doesn't take a parameter. Just clones itself. My god. Take n+1, let's do this. Okay, so you are now going towards the correct path nodes. Okay, so the issue was indeed due to basically references to the same struct being cloned and changed and all that kind of thing, and pointer fun. Alright, let's get out of there, and we can say foes move towards the correct paths, and the last thing to do is to actually save these paths. Oh, you know what? There's also the matter of deleting nodes. Okay, I can. That's fine. I can delete nodes. Let me do that first before I deal with saving. So for an editor path node, if you hit the left mouse button, if you hit VK delete, is it VK delete or backspace that I'm using elsewhere? It's VK delete. If you hit the delete key, we will erase search and remove. Is there an array? There is not. Okay, so there are a number of new array functions that got added in 2.3.1. Okay, well, if there is a selected entity, and that should be selected entity, not hover entity, var index equals array search. Is it array search? I thought there was an array search. Apparently there is no array search. I know there's a ds list find index. It's starting to look like using a ds list for this would have been the better option, but this is just going to remove the index of the selected node, shift everything in front of it down one so that like it's essentially removed from the array, because arrays can't just have random elements removed without recreating the entire array. And the last element is set to undefined. This has the effect that some elements towards the end of the path nodes array may be undefined, which I will want to account for in enemies when they follow the path, such as this. If you find an undefined value inside the list, that means you've reached the end, and then you can treat this. The game can treat that situation as if it's reached the end of the path, and it should damage you. In practice, this shouldn't ever happen, because unless the player is actively messing with the path while the game is running, when the path is loaded out of the game file, it just will not contain any undefined values on the end. The other thing I'm going to want to do is, instead of just simply saying array push, which is nice while it lasted, instead we are going to slot the new node into the first undefined value in the array, or if none are found, and we take advantage of the fact that short-circuiting conditions inside an if statement is a thing, or in any Boolean expression. If you get to the end, you'll do the same thing. Adding a value onto the end of an array is all array push does anyway. Okay. Also, this, if you've never seen it before, is the array accessor. GameMaker arrays are weird because why can't we have nice things in GameMaker? Under certain circumstances, if you try to modify a value of an array, it will instead create a new array and return that, which is 1, very slow, and 2, will not actually modify the original array, which is usually what you want, instead of passing it by reference like you would ideally hope that it does. And to get around that, you can use the array accessor, which is just a good idea in general when you're assigning something into an array. Okay, the moment of truth. I said I didn't want this video to go on for long, and it is. Although I do feel like an amount of stuff has gotten done in this video, so I'm not that mad. Let us return to game mode, and we can do that. I don't want to mess with the path while enemies are following it. I feel like that would be a very bad idea, so let me wait until these guys all leave, and then can I delete these safely? I cannot. Okay, that'll be because I forgot a place where I should check for undefined, and that is in render. So the code golfers among you may observe that not equals undefined isn't a thing that you have to do with a value that could contain a struct. You could simply say if path nodes of I of index I, and because a struct has a truth value of truthy, this will pass as long as there is a struct inside path nodes, and since undefined has a truth value of falsy. If there's nothing there, it'll pass. I don't know if I want to make my code that unreadable. I do that on my own, but since there is a decent chance that other people will be reading this code, I don't know if that's a thing I should do now. So let me select you and delete. And okay, we are seeing once again. Get under cursor. This variable is still called tower, even though it can refer to just anything that is there. So we're going to say if tower is not equal to undefined, which is the opposite of what I actually typed there, we will do that. And like I said, let's go with that. Okay. There is one last thing I want to do as far as like path editors go. And that is going to be drawing lines connecting these nodes so you can actually see the order in which they go together. And it looks like that's working out. That's working out just fine. So you all can go to the end. Hopefully the next wave will not start before you do that, otherwise I'll have to restart the game because I don't want any enemies on the screen while I'm deleting stuff. And now, let's try that again, see if... Okay, God, you're slow. See if you follow the path correctly. If everything has been shifted down appropriately, and if you do indeed disappear when you get to there. And it looks like you are. Okay. I died. It just works. No, I don't want to exit. The Alt F4 was for the game, not the IDE. Alright. Delete path nodes. That was a bit of code. That was, That is a bit of programming logic, which there is no easy way to make a tutorial for, and which I do not think I explained very well, but it got done in the span of about an hour. Okay, so the matter of drawing a line between these things. I am going to go with a suboptimal rendering strategy, and that is going to be creating, pushing, and submitting a vertex buffer in the step event, in the draw event rather. Vertex create buffer, vertex begin VB path nodes, and format. Once we are... Actually, you know what? Can I make this static? So that it just, it exists and it gets erased every time. That's what you can do with static variables. Vertex begin will erase the contents of a vertex buffer. I'm pretty sure. F1. Why do I have Twitter open on my other screen? I have no idea. This will... It does not say if this erases a vertex buffer. And that is okay, whatever. Better safe than sorry, to be honest. Vertex, what is it? Delete? Vertex delete buffer. It's better to have working code than clever code, to be honest. So this is only really going to work if there are 2 or more things in this array. If array length is greater than 1. We can do this because if you try to just put one vertex in a vertex buffer, it's not really going to work super well. 1, we can render. 2, let us vertex point, vertex add point, vertex add position 3D. I'm just guessing. Vertex position 3D. There we go. VB path nodes. And we will say path nodes. Hang on. I am typing this way too often. I do not want to type that as often as I am. So we will just put that in a local variable called node. Okay, so to explain my code, 1, we are going to be drawing this whole thing with the unlit shader, which is fine. I don't really care to have any fancy effects on certain things in the editor. 2, the position of this, there's just going to be 1 vertex per node. The position of this is going to be the nodes X, Y, and Z. And we are going to look 8 units above the Z so that it's slightly above the ground instead of just parallel with the ground, because most of these nodes are created at Z equals 0. The surface normal is going to be 0, 0, 1 because lighting is irrelevant and we just need to have some value there. The text coordinate is going to be 0, 0 because no texture. The color is going to be blue because I said so. And we are going to be drawing this with a line list instead of a triangle list so that we can just draw a line between the points, connect the dot style. And let's see, the problem with this is that it won't actually draw the first node if there's only 1 node. Okay, I was gonna say if array length of path nodes is greater than 1, do something. Otherwise, do something else that is very similar, but without the vertex buffer stuff. But to be honest, I think that's stupid. A lot more stupid than I did 10 seconds ago, apparently. So we will say just call it var draw the line is going to equal the a Boolean expression of the path nodes is greater than 1. And then if I would totally just call it draw a line, except that is a built-in function and I can't use that as a variable name. Draw the line. We will do all of the vertex buffer things. Like this. Again, it is somewhat more important to have working code than clean code, and this is going to be working code. I'll wrap this in a region later so that we don't ever have to look at this again if we don't want to. Alright, I think all the parentheses are in the right place. Yes. 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 Okay, all the parentheses are in the right place. So there should be now a line connecting the dots, and that should be fine. One last thing might be to like allow the map designer to move nodes around. And now there are indeed dots connecting them. Oh, you know what I want that to be? I want that to be a line strip instead of a line list. I want that to be a line strip instead of a line list. A line list will require 2 pairs of line segments, two pairs of points for each line segment, and a line strip will use the successor point for one line segment as the previous vertex for the next line segment, and the result will be that the lines are connected. Okay, so the last thing I need to do, I think, is save these to a file. I can do something like this, and the if I go back to play mode, the guys will more or less follow that line. I think that's pretty nice. I am happy with this. It took a little more than an hour of work, plus some debugging, which is fine. Can I send in the next wave? Go back into edit mode. You can see them following the lines. That's very nice. There is, I have no way to insert a point in between 2 other points or by the beginning or anything, and I think that's a compromise I'm willing to make. Everything else works. If I wanted to, okay, you know what? This'll take time, and I don't know if I want that, but a fun bit of math would be to make the line change from for example, blue at the start to red at the end, and to do a hue shift rainbow in between. I think that'll be fun. It'll look better for more nodes. Okay, we'll say it'll be red at the start, and we'll say, let's see, if we're gonna look at hue is 360 degrees, right? Although I think in GameMaker, make color HSV. Okay, let's call this node hue instead. I think they're all 0 to 255. 0 to 255, okay, instead of 0 to 360. So we're gonna say node hue equals 0 of our is 255 divided by array length path nodes. And each time you add a vertex to the vertex buffer, we will add, instead of c_blue, make color HSV with a hue of node hue, a saturation of 255, and a value of 1. And then increment the node hue, or advance it by node hue interval, and that will create a rainbow effect, which I think will be very satisfying. So you can see the nodes towards the end are red-ish. Actually, it seems to be going through the rainbow a couple times, and I think I like that, and considering that this was just supposed to be like graphically appealing in the first place. Oh no. No. What it's doing is it's starting at red and it's ending at red. If you wanted it to end at blue, it looks like blue would be somewhere around the vicinity of 192. I don't care. I think it looks cool enough whether or not it starts at red and ends at red, or it starts at red and ends at blue, or whatever. Okay. Draw a line between the nodes. Now the only matter left is saving and loading. Let's see, where is save and load? Save map is here, and we need to look at the save JSON. By the way, snap to JSON, JSON stringify, and JSON parse. It's not that I have anything against Snap, but now that in GameMaker Studio 2.3.1, we have the built-in JSON stringify and JSON parse. Those are almost certainly going to be somewhat faster than Snap because they are native code instead of GML, and I would not mind saving a little bit of speed when it comes to saving and loading things. Am I using any of these anywhere else? I don't think I'm using any of the snap functions anywhere else, so I should be just able to get rid of that and expect everything to work properly. Snap is certainly still useful if you want to do things such as using some of the other languages that it supports, like XML or something like that, message pack, whatever, CSV, any, God forbid. But it's not something I will be needing here. Before I got distracted, I was on save map. There's the save JSON. There is an entities array, and there is going to be a nodes array. Okay, so this is going to be for the purpose of cutting off the undefined values on the end of each path, if there are any. We will look at the end of the array and we will count backwards to see if we find something that is not undefined, and if we find a value that is not undefined, that is where we stop. But we don't go any further. So array create node count, and then we're going to save all the entities, and then we will save all of the nodes. All right, that should be good enough. It seems that, okay, so there's a semicolon there instead of a comma. That should save everything. Let me do this. So I'll start actually near the beginning instead of just a random spot on the track this time. And I will attempt to stay reasonably close to the actual path stones. Also, I decided that I don't really mind at all the grass on the top of the path stones. I wasn't sure about that when I first put them in the game. Let's get rid of that. I think I mentioned possibly changing the vertex color to. And let's have the final node kind of inside that termite mound so that it doesn't look like the player gets cheated when the bug disappears just a couple inches in front of it. I will not be turning these into single color. So we are going to F1 to save. I will live on the edge and save over map bug underscore whatever. And we will load the game again and see if everything is where it's supposed to be. It didn't crash, which is a good sign. If there is something wrong inside path nodes, they are not there. I know why they're not there. If there is something incorrect inside path nodes, if the file is corrupt or whatever, I will just revert it on source control. But because I am here, all right, one, we should probably actually print out the error in case something goes wrong, just so that we know what that is. And two, we actually need to use that data. That will be path nodes is an array of size, what is it? Load JSON.nodes. Oh, okay. Hang on. Hang on. This will not work. Abort, abort. Let me discard those changes. There is a slight error inside save map that I just realized that I need to address new. And what is it? Path node. We're going to do that. Also, array accessor. I'm sure there are other places in this code where I should be using the array accessor, but the game is working, as far as I know, and I don't really feel the need to go hunting for them. I'm just gonna try and remember it when I'm thinking about it. We need a list of vector 3s inside the saved list of nodes, and they need to be path node objects which contain a vector 3 when they're saved. And over in here, we are saving. Okay, no, it's over in here. We are saving the entity, the path node instead, the object which contains the vector 3. And we can't simply load that back because it does contain a method that it needs, I believe. These things aren't saved with methods, right? Because, or functions anyway, because you can't serialize a function. This is 123 kilobytes already. All right. If I do actually turn that into a binary format at some point, entities. If I do ever turn this into a binary format at some point, oh, I reverted the change, so they won't be there. That file will be shrunk significantly, but until then. Okay, let me just do that again. Also, I can close this. Alright, I accidentally spawned a tower, but who cares? Okay. That tower's not even in range of this thing, is it? Let me save this. I will test out the map just to see how it feels once that saves. Let's see if this works when it loads back in. They're not there. Oh, I see it spat out an error. And that's probably because it did indeed save a vector 3 instead of the position. Or something. Nope. Okay, what is it saving? Hang on, I need to get my facts straight. Okay, is saving a struct of... It should have loaded the position. Actually. This should have been fine. What was not fine about it? Let's extract some more useful information out of that error message and format it a little bit nicer. The default formatting for those things is a bit of a mess. Argument 1, incorrect type, expecting an array. Oh, okay. I am jumping to conclusions about what the actual error is. This has to be array length of that, and now I don't want to force quit the game, because that would also kill Penguin, which I probably won't be using anymore in this video, but it still annoys me when it does that. And illegal array use. Line 416. There is no array use on line 416. Oh, yes there is. It's falling apart at the seams here. Alright, this video should have been done a half hour ago. But I kept getting distracted. That ran without crashing, and all the nodes are in the correct place. That is great. Okay. I should probably start timing this to see how long it takes to load, so I can minimize that. Like I have mentioned, later on I will be making this a binary format instead of a JSON format. That is really so that changing a binary format is a pain in the neck when you're loading game data files. So I would much rather prefer to have more or less the contents finalized, or at least the structure of the contents finalized before doing that. Anyway. Alright, that is wonderful. That took... How long have I been sitting here? An hour 30 minutes. Yeah, so much for making a shorter video. Who cares? I'm going to commit this one last change. We are going to say this diff is too large to be displayed by default. We are going to say save and load path nodes, and that is going to be 0.17. Okay. Next time I'm going to do something fun, I promise. I've been putting off Tower UI for a long time, and I want to finally do Tower UI. I finally looked into using sequences for UI layout and stuff, and I think it's interesting. It's a more visual way of laying out UI than we would have had in previous versions of GameMaker. In which case, I would have basically just had to hard code. I would have had to either place dummy objects in the room editor or hard code them everything to coordinates on the screen, which is kind of annoying. The code for this is in the video description. I've been pushing commits all video, and they'll be where you can find them in the video description. I have a Patreon, so if you want to contribute towards these videos being made, there's links to that in all the usual places. Otherwise, I try to post 2 of these videos a week. One of these and one tutorial, as I call them for some reason. This is probably going to be the last time I touch the editor here for a while, and I will see you all later. Special thanks to David Key, Edward Holt, Indie Punch, and Zenith for supporting these videos. If you want your name in the credits or to get a shout out at the end, head on down to the Patreon page in the video description and join the fun.